Welcome to True and Unpolished, the podcast, a Cuss Culture production. Through this podcast, our intention is to uplift, inspire, and amuse.
Let's get authentic.
Well, hello there, everybody. It is Lydia and Mary, and Carrie Graves is joining us again. Carrie Graves, guru of dreams. That's what I'm calling you, whether you like it or not, Carrie. Like, you are dusting.
She's shaking her head, everybody, but she really is amazing. And she's been doing this stuff for a long time. And she's been a student for a lot longer than anybody I know.
Right.
So doesn't that make you a guru?
Thanks, guys.
I don't know. I love it. And so here's what I want to say. So right here, everybody, if you have not listened to the episode Decoding Dreams, stop, go back and listen to Decoding Dreams. That is our first conversation with Carrie on dreams. And so it'll be a good foundational beginning for this episode. And what we said in that episode is that we wanted to actually come on and do the work of working a dream. And so Mary, thankfully, has a dream that she's going to allow us to work. And I'm going to just ask Carrie to give us a recap of the process that we're going to do here today. And before I do that, I just want to tell you that, so you might be asking yourself, or at some point in, the not too distant future, in the next few minutes, you might say, why is it that I'm listening to these women work a dream that wasn't my own dream? And I want to say here that in part, the reason why you're listening is because there is such a gift in dreams and the metaphor of dreams. And what we are endeavoring to do today as we do this, we want to give you this process. We want this process to become a process that you take with you and are then able to use in your own dreams. So that is in part why you're listening. The other reason why you're listening is intuitively, I know you're going to get some intuitive hits, even though this dream was dreamed by Mary and not you. So it is no accident that you are listening to these words come out of my mouth right now. You are here on purpose. So take a breath, embrace that, and let's let Carrie give us a recap of the process we're about to undertake.
Thank you, Lydia. You hit the nail on the head. So why are you listening? Because Mary is offering her dream to all of us, and it is going to become my dream. It is going to become Lydia's dream. It is going to become the dream of all who are listening. It is a treasure. And so a recap, I am trained at the Hayden Institute in North Carolina in group projective dream work, which means we take on a dream given by one who's willing to share it, and we look at it as if it were our own dream. And in this process, the dreamer shares the dream a couple of times while we're making a movie in our head of our dream. We can ask a few questions to clarify that picture, that movie, but only questions that apply within the dream. Nothing about, in this case, Mary's outside life or any associations she has with images in the dream in her waking life. And then we'll hear the dream again. And then today, Lydia and I are going to project on this dream and say, in my dream, this black cat or whatever images we have to come up means this to me. And that is basically a really short version of the process. So we will go through it here in a minute.
I love it. And you know what we embrace is, and you said something so beautiful on our first time together having this conversation. And, in your experience, you recognize that your dreams come from your higher power. And it doesn't matter the word you use. You can use God, you can use Holy Spirit, you can use higher self, you can use soul. But the recognition is that nothing in your life is on accident. Nothing's an accident. It's all purposeful. And so here we are, taking this dream, embracing the purposefulness of it, and unpacking it. And so we'll be asking some questions after Mary, shares the dream with us. And I love what Carrie said, that mental movie in your head. The first time we got together, she likened it to when you read a book, and how you and I can read a book and both of us are going to get very different pictures and images in our head of what's being described.
Yes.
So I invite all that is listening, all of you that are listening, do your movie in your head as Mary does this dream. You know what I mean? Go into your movie with it. Right? Okay. So what's next, Carrie? Do we just say, Mary, take it away? Is that what happens?
Okay, excellent. So we are going to have Mary tell us or read us the dream. Usually we do this in present tense because it is a living thing if Mary's written it that way.
I have.
Okay, great. So we'll have you tell it to us. And the three of us before this show started created a bit of sacred space. But for those of you listening, you want to create a sacred space, light a candle, say a little prayer. This is holy and sacred work. And so you want to do it within a container.
Yeah.
But we've done that today. So Mary, would you read or tell us your dream?
Yes. And I wrote it down. So I'll just read it.
Okay.
Initially, I am driving down the road leading to Clemson University. And I will have to point out that there are Clemson paws on this road leading to Clemson. Then I come to a new scene, and I'm at this place just outside of a wooded area. I can go left or I can go right. The place that I'm at to the left is paw, 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 paw. And to the right is mama, paw, paw.
Wow.
The right has a simple shack, benches. The shack's like a cabin with benches. And the left has the woods. There are fruit trees growing in both areas, which are only separated by a dirt path.
Okay, I have a question and this is a question actually for Carrie.
Sure.
Okay, so I know Mary. So right away, what began to happen for me is I began to make associations between the Mary's waking life that I know and the story she is telling me.
Yes.
So tell me what I do with that.
Okay, that is an excellent question.
Stop it, Lydia.
Yeah.
Okay, I really?
First of all,
okay.
Stop it. No.
I'm just kidding.
So, a little bit like we talked about last time, as you get into a dream group, especially with people you know, or even if you don't know, you're going to get to know, dream work is extremely personal. So, Lydia, what just happened to you is perfectly normal.
Right.
For the sake of a dream group, I would say really try your very, very hardest to pretend that you only dreamed this dream.
Okay.
And if it's Lydia's dream, what does Clemson, we're going to get into this in a minute, and the pause and the shack and all mean to Lydia? And then in a safe space, we try not to do therapy in the group setting. Well, we don't do it because it's not safe. And most of the time people are not trained as therapists. Mary is, and you and Mary are very close friends. So you guys can talk about it afterwards, privately, with Mary's permission. But for this dream,
Yeah. Okay. And I just want to say, bookmark this, because at the end of this, I want to say something, because I have such an inspiration about what you just said. So bookmark it, everybody. I have a thing that I do because my brain goes super crazy. And I have this thing where I'm like, oh, say it now. And I recognize now is not the time. So I say, bookmark it, Lydia. And then I know that it's going to come back at the right moment. So,
wow.
So Lydia's bookmarking it. And
that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, we'll see
it
how
would
well
go
it
out
goes.
of my head.
Be careful. We don't know. We don't know if it's time to be in question or not, Carrie. We'll see. Okay, cool. Okay, so now she's told us the dream the first time. Now, does she tell it a second time before we ask questions?
Yes. And so in the group, sometimes it's going to depend on your personal processing style. you might want to close your eyes and listen the first time and take notes the second, or vice versa, or take notes both times or close your eyes both times. So we're gonna get another layer added on right now by having Mary read it to us again.
Okay, and I'll just tell you that I took notes the first time, and now
Okay,
I'm
cool.
not. I'm closing
Okay.
my eyes. This is now my dream because I just got the instruction to quit associating stuff, Lydia. And so here I am. I'm closing my eyes. Take it away, Mary.
Initially, I'm driving down the road leading to Clemson University, and on this road, there are Clemson paws that mark the road. Then I end up at a place just outside of a wooded area. I can go left or I can go right. I am aware that to the left is Paw 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 Paw, and to the right is Mama Paw Paw. The right has a simple shack or cabin with benches. The left has woods where there are fruit trees growing in both areas, which are only separated by a dirt path. And I forgot to mention, I didn't write this down, but I'm not sure what kind of fruit trees they are, but I do have a slight memory that there may have been pawpaw trees.
Okay.
So.
Okay, Lydia. So
I have tons of questions.
yeah. So now questions, like the first one that pops to mind for me, and this is an important point. So I'm going to ask Mary if the shack was a certain color. But at some point in the question asking, you could ask a million gazillion questions. At some point, we let our own unconscious fill it in. So if Mary doesn't have a color for me for the shack, or it doesn't, we don't get around to it, my unconscious already kind of has a color for that shack. But I would like to know if the shack was a color, Mary.
It was wood.
Okay.
And very simple.
Okay.
Mary, you said to the left, paw, paw, paw. To the right, ma, mama, paw, paw. Do you mean the words paw, paw, mama?
It was almost like the mama pawpaw was of like feminine mother's place, and the pawpaw was more of a like the father's place.
Okay.
I don't really know how,
Oh my God.
Ugh. And then like I said at the end, and I forgot to mention this the first time I read it, the pawpaw, so it was like pawpaw male, mama female, but the second part of both names were maybe a pawpaw tree or like a last name kind of thing. I don't really know.
Okay.
Is it daytime, Mary? Nighttime?
Oh, it's maybe dusk. It's not, I think it's like dusk. It's pretty like late in the sunsetting time of dusk.
And the reason we ask some of these questions is dusk is every time of day is a meaningful time of day. So to help me with my picture. Go ahead, Lydia.
So did you have an emotion at any point in this dream, and did they differ? Like, did you have one emotion when you were driving to Clemson and another when you're, at the road?
Lydia, can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of schools of dream work.
Okay, you're supposed to do this.
Yes. So this is the hardest one for everybody to get.
Yeah.
So since Mary didn't say any emotions as part of her telling of the dream, I want you to project your emotions on your dream as you're driving down the road. And I'm getting goosebumps while I'm saying that. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's super vulnerable.
Yeah. And you don't have to share that when the sharing time comes, but for your own inner work, project your emotions.
So unless the dreamer initially shares an emotion, then that means it's about your emotion and to stop.
That's right.
Like,
Because
okay.
sometimes a dreamer will say, I was running down the road, running from something, and I'm scared, and that's part of their telling.
Right.
But somebody else could be running for joy, and so we want to project our own emotions if the dreamer doesn't say it.
Okay, can I ask this question?
Mm-hmm.
She said I could go left or I could go right.
Uh-huh.
Did you choose one? Am I allowed to ask that?
That is within the dream. Yeah, you're asking her, did this happen in the dream, if that makes sense.
In the dream, did you choose left or right?
No, I don't remember choosing a path.
Okay.
Or direction.
Like, I am freaking out right now because this dream.
Because you're so intuitive.
And it's my dream. Like, you don't understand, like, the degree to which this is my dream. Like,
well, this is all of our dreams. I mean, that's why we love this stuff, why it's so great.
Yeah. Like, everybody, like, we're not going to show you the video, right? But I want you to know that my hands are at my temples and I'm like, I'm rocking myself back and forth because, like, I am so identifying with this dream as my own dream and what that means for me. I'm emotional. I'm actively trying not to cry. And I think it's important to tell everybody this so that you understand, like, the level that happens when this is going on. So I'm trying to be, like, super transparent for everybody so that you can know when you're doing it. Okay.
It's vulnerable.
Can I just say something? Because of what you're saying, what we're doing is unconventional. This is a very sacred, like Carrie said, it's a very sacred thing. And I'm sharing something very personal, but because I feel comfortable and safe with the two of you, it's easier for me to do that. But it's definitely something that you would want to do with somebody who's trained and also someone who you trust.
Well, okay. So I heard you say trained, but could it just be with somebody you trust? Like, I'm not trained in dream work, but could a friend, could someone who trusts me, as long as I'm kind of familiar with the process, is that a safe space? As long as is that okay?
I would say yes. And I'll defer to Mary too, as a therapist here, but I would say yes, as long as you completely trust them. It's kind of like sharing your deepest, darkest secrets. If they're so intuitive that they're going to see right through you sharing that dream, but you trust and love them, then that's okay.
Yeah.
And they may be able to help you with it. And they may be able to, as someone who's trained to lead a group, may be able to say, you know what, this seems like some serious, like, childhood traumas popping up here. And I think we need to see, you might want to see a therapist. That's kind of a boundary thing in the dream work, if that makes sense. But
yeah.
With someone who's
right. And I would completely agree with that. I think if you're completely unfamiliar with dream work and your friend is too, then do look into educating yourself and getting training, because, like Carrie said, things can pop up that we don't expect, and then we don't know how to deal with it. And so it doesn't mean you can't. And your consciousness, Lydia, is that which you have been navigating this sort of thing.
Right. But so here's where I would say, guys, Mary is versed in this. So if you are a person that wants to work on some dream work stuff, Mary, is available. Like, she didn't know I was going to say that, but I did. So there you go. So reach out to her.
Yes.
So is this the point now? Okay, Carrie, what now the question part is over, and now what do you and I do? What do we do?
Okay, so what we're going to do is have Mary read the dream one last time to finalize our movies in our head. And then normally doing this on Zoom, I'm going to say we don't do this today for communication purposes for us, but normally we turn our chair around in order to as an extra layer to take our attention off of the original dreamer and make it about my dream. And so on Zoom, we've been turning the person's camera off. But today, Mary, I would say don't, but that is a good tip out there for any groups so that you're sure to not like look at the dreamer every time you think of something. It just really helps again with that boundary.
Okay. So Carrie, I'm hearing you say that I should not look at Mary.
Right.
Okay. So even though
Lydia,
she's not turning her camera off, you and I are going to focus on each other after, because apparently she's to read it a third time. Is that right?
That's right. And then we are going to have, I like to really think of it as a conversation, Lydia. You're going to say something that's going to inspire me and vice versa. You're going to give me ahas about my dream by talking about your dream. And Mary's going to get some ahas too. And at the end, she can share whatever she feels comfortable was helpful to her.
Okay.
So in the interest of time, I know we'll have Mary read it again. And then she can just bow her head and take some notes if she wishes. And you and I are going to talk about the dream, and we're going to use the phrase "in my dream,"
Yeah. And we're going to endeavor not to go long, but at the same time, like I want intuition to guide us on all this. So here we go. Here's Mary.
Okay.
Take 3.
Initially, I'm driving down the road leading to Clemson University. There, on this road, there are Clemson paws that line the road. Then I end up at this place just outside of a wooded area. I can go left or I can go right. I am aware that to the left is Paw 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 Paw, and to the right is Maw Maw Paw Paw. The right has a simple shack or cabin with benches. The left has woods. There are fruit trees growing in both areas, which are only separated by a dirt path.
So here's, thank you so much. And so I want to reiterate number 1 before I ask Carrie this question. Carrie alluded to this. Before we began this Zoom, we set a prayerful intention. We all together said a prayer. And I just want to, again, reiterate what Carrie said, that I believe that it is very important to set an intention at the beginning of this. And I didn't know how, I'm a believer in setting intention, but as we're doing this, like I'm even embracing like, wow, yes, like everybody, like pray first in whatever way that, whatever that means to you, do it first. So Carrie, my question is that I've got all kinds of personal associations with the things that she has said.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, I'm almost like, I'm rarely at a loss for words, but I don't know what to share. Like, I don't know how personal to get. I don't know what to do here. So I'm wondering maybe if you have thoughts or if you want to start, where does that leave you?
How about I start? And a rule of sacred time, which many of us know, is that you never share anything that you are not comfortable sharing. And just use your intuition, share as you feel the spirit calls you, but do not share anything that feels like it needs to be protected. That would be a space where maybe a therapist would be the safer space to share that.
Okay, great.
So I will start, and sometimes it starts out very vague, and I'll have realizations as we have this dream conversation. So in my dream, the first thing that pops up is that dusk is like, and I'm getting goosebumps, so that's a good
that's a good indicator. Yeah.
Like dusk is like a closing down of one phase and the potential of opening into another. And there's a choice here in this dream. And so one thing we talked about last time is like, I want to find out what the dream is telling me that I don't already know, but I'm going to start with what I think I know, because that's the only place I can start. And so in my dream, my personal associations with Clemson are my family has gone to the University of South Carolina, Clemson's rival, for generations. My youngest son, who was, we like to joke, born angry and oppositional and loving the color orange, is a huge Clemson fan.
Right.
And my children are 13 and 15, but some of my friends from Carolina are, their children are now in college at Clemson. And I was like, I think all our kids are going to Clemson. It's just, they used to be our rival. And so what Clemson is to me is kind of what you do for love. Like, I am a fan of Clemson because I love my son, and because with my work in the Diocese of Upper South Carolina, my former job, we had a great connection with their world mission there. So that's kind of a lot of detail, but I'm going to start there because Clemson is a powerful image for me. And so I'm going to stop there and see if there's something you want to say, because that's also a good practice in a group, is don't say everything you think about the dream in one blah, because it's a conversation, and I'm going to get thoughts from you.
Okay. So Clemson represents to me both my freedom and my shame. As a 17-year-old girl, I ran away to Clemson to follow a boy. And it was a good thing in that what was going on at home, I needed to be able to break free from it. And with the tools that I had at the time, the only tool I had was, find a boy that could help. And so there was a boy that could help there. And so I did. In my dream, also the choice, this particular boy lived on the outskirts of town in the middle of the woods.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was to the left. And it was a street that had a street name, but the only thing on it was his wooded house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so in my dream, the fact that I could have taken a left or a right, and that there were trees that bore fruit either way, it in my dream, it is affirmation to me that whatever I chose at the time was the right choice.
Wow. That is beautiful. And you did give me an aha in your talking.
Oh,
it's
cool.
A bit different, but for so freedom and choice has been a big thing for me. I have kind of always felt like I wasn't free to make my own choices, and it's not really anyone in my family's fault that that's the case or anything like that. It's just kind of the way I was born and wired. I just didn't feel comfortable making my own decisions. And so I think a part of that, I'm glad I went to Carolina. I wouldn't trade it for anything now, but a part of that was, again, I'm from Columbia. So I lived on campus, but I didn't totally go away to college. And I didn't get kind of that chance to like set out to seek your fortune, like in the Three Little Pigs, because I just, I did the safe thing.
Yeah.
And to go to Clemson for me would have been a terrible thing, probably at the time.
Yeah, that would have been the rebellious thing, right?
The rival school. My dad had a prestigious career at USC and was there the whole time I was there, and much before and beyond. So that in my dream, I love that the choices on either side of the road bear fruit.
Yeah.
And it shows us for me, it shows me that God is with me. There are no wrong choices. You can only do with what you have done and learn and grow and look for meaning in everything.
Yes, yeah. And the same is the same is true for me. It's that recognition that that choice was going to bear fruit. And while there are days and moments where I kick myself and say, what were you doing? What a terrible choice you made. This, my dream, just affirmed to me that there wasn't a wrong road. So we've reached the end of time, and I can't believe it. So I don't know if you guys felt the power of what just happened now, but I have to say that I am in, I love it when the universe, just puts me in a place of awe. And this is one of those moments for me where I am in awe. And I'm so grateful to you, Mary, for your vulnerability and sharing the dream, and for Carrie, your amazing wisdom at guiding me, a novice, through this, particularly when she started telling her dream and I thought, no, stop the train. I want to get off, another dream right now. This is not okay. So I just want to, does anybody, just in closing, have anything they kind of want to part with before I close this out?
Yeah, I want to encourage people to work with the images in the dream, with the shed, with the fruit as you see it, we can get into this another time, the fact that there are 4 masculine energies and 2 masculine and 2 feminine, 4 on the left and on the right.
I had some intuition around that too. Yep.
All of that. And then I want to invite Mary to share really quickly anything she wishes to. And then Lydia, the last trick is for me and you to each share just a brief aha, once again, to take the attention back off the dreamer. So once Mary comes back, and if she tells us, oh my gosh, y'all, that was all about my life. And then it's tempting to want to keep talking to Mary about that, but we need to remember, and I have something to add for that. So Mary, thank you for the dream. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
You don't have to share anything, but if you feel comfortable sharing any aha you might have had from Lydia's and my projections, you're welcome to.
Well, I without going into it too much, I have had a change of heart. I think honestly, there was so much in that dream that we didn't get to, and it wasn't even a very long dream.
I know, so there's tons.
The short dreams are the longest, y'all.
Oh my God, we could go on 2 hours on this dream.
The short dreams are the longest, inevitably, in my experience.
Good point,
Carrie, what you said about what you do for love. There's something there for me, because I was a USC fan for a very long time, and now I'm a Clemson fan. And I did not go to either school. So I don't really have any personal connections with the school except for, what I've done for love. And so, there's that. And also, I think just, I think the synchronicity of what Lydia was saying about we can't make the wrong choice. She couldn't, to have that sort of healing moment for her. And also, I'm in this moment of, I think, a shifting right now, and have been for at least a week or so. And so and the dream I had a while ago, it's been about a month ago that I had it, but I'm just now looking at it. So I think I would like to explore this dream a little bit more, because I think there's a lot more there.
Yes.
Lots of tips and tricks that we can talk about again another time that you can do on your own. But if it's okay, I'll just go ahead and then share my aha, which it stems from what I was saying during our talk, is that I went to Carolina. I'm from South Carolina, but 3 years ago I moved to Baltimore, Maryland, driven by the Holy Spirit. It has been the most amazing thing. I work with the most amazing people. I moved for a job. But my little Clemson boy, particularly more than my other one, is still not real happy and wants to move home, and that's painful for me. And I worry about it, and I don't worry about it in that this thing about choices,
Yeah.
making the
Right.
choice. And my prayer for him is that, adversity in life is gonna fuel, it's gonna get him to who he is. Like
Yeah.
the three of us wouldn't be who we are, where we are today, without the choices we've made. So anyway, I would like to explore this dream more myself, and that is my aha. Especially the masculine pawpaws and the mama pawpaw. I'm gonna think about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Me too. I have more on the masculine and the feminine aspects.
Oh, and I'll just say that I've planted a ton of fruit trees and bushes in the last couple of years, and I have
Oh, that's right.
planted many that have died. I
mm,
mean, a lot, but probably half of what I've planted over the years has died. And now it's spring, and all of this stuff is starting to leaf out, and I'm seeing buds, and it's really exciting
Cool.
to see that.
So you
Lydia,
guys, this has been amazing. And what I want to say is that, like, Carrie, like, in all honesty, like, I feel like I would love it if we could just have this be a regular segment. And anybody who's listening right now, if you would like to come on with us and work a dream, like if that's an inspiration that you have, please reach out to us, because I kind of had an intuition that we'd be doing this with one of you. So, yeah, and maybe we'll even like devote like an hour long episode to it. So there's more to come. Carrie, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Mary, thank you. Like, my cup runneth over with gratitude for both of you. You have been listening to True and Unpolished, the podcast. Let's see what happens next.